What up, peeps and peepettes? MorbTron back with more Destiny 2, and today we're going to be looking at some differences between console and PC when it comes to aim assist, hitbox, hit registration, that sort of thing, and I also want to check out a couple mods to see what the difference is between console and PC, or controller versus mouse and keyboard, for their effectiveness and what they do. I have my assistant Spirit here, and the weapons I'm going to be using for this test. I have a God Roll Better Devils that I'll be using. It has a backup mag mod currently in it, so it does not have a mod that affects its targeting or anything like that. I will be testing the targeting adjuster mod for it, which makes the weapon gain better target acquisition. We're going to test that out on both mouse and keyboard and a controller. Might ask how? Well, you can plug a Xbox controller into your PC, and the game will revert to console-type settings when it comes to controls, and it can do so fluidly. Right now you see a mouse cursor running around the screen, and with a controller plugged in, if I just wiggle the joystick around, you'll see it has the console reticle, the big circle. So there's the difference there. The game completely changes. You see here I'm moving around. The whole weapon system, the whole weapon is moving around my screen. And if I go back to mouse, shake it, you'll see everything stays more steady. And now I have a mouse cursor. Pretty interesting. Will you see Crucible gameplay of me using a controller? No. That muscle memory has been long gone. It's been over a year since I played a shooter on console or with a controller. But what other mods am I testing? I've got my age-old Bond, which has a Counterbalance Stock mod in it, which says it reduces recoil deviation for the weapon. We'll be testing that mouse and keyboard and controller before, and then I'll be removing the mod and putting on like a radar tuner or a major spec or a minor spec on it or something like that, and we'll see what it does then when it has no mods on it that decrease its recoil deviation. That's all I'll be doing. For some sort of control and making sure that I'm at the same distances consistently, we'll be using the Darcy, which has a scope on it that tells you how far away you are. You see at the bottom left hand of that center square, there is a box that says 10. Now it says 6. And now it says 14 with an M next to it. We are 14 meters away from our target once the Darcy has locked on. Also shows you their health. Now he's down to 13 shield and 100 health. Neat how that works. Anyway, we're going to be starting with recoil deviation. And I want to just clear the air on something really quick as well. We are 10 meters away from our target. There's a difference between aim assist and the hitbox hit detection. When Spirit stops dancing. Once Spirit stops dancing and faces me. Thank you. We're 10 meters away from the target. I'm using mouse and keyboard. You can see there's a mouse cursor. Shoot him once in the head. Directly. And now I'm going to aim right here at his health bar. I still hit him in the head. That's how big the hitbox is for the head. But if I go right above his health bar, I miss. But you can see the bullet goes down a bit. It's trying to hit him in the head. Whereas if I go over here, the bullet goes exactly where I was pointing the gun. Minus recoil, setting the gun back down, not exactly where I was pointing. So there is a little bit of, I guess, bullet vacuum, I don't know what you want to call it, but aim assist is a little bit different. I'm going to pick up the controller, show you that it's the same. One of my settings, you see I have the circular thing. Once in the head. Twice in the head. And there I miss. But you see the bullet still went down. What you'll see as aim assist or target sticking, I'm still using a controller have the circular cursor. Now I'm going to strafe side to side. As you can see, there's a little bit of a sticky targeting. As I'm going over my target, not only is it kind of pulling my Guardian's aim, it's also slowing down my strafe while doing so. So while I'm over the target to do damage, it slows down my cursor. But if I do that using mouse and keyboard, as you can see here, mouse cursor, let's hit this, make sure we're still at 10 meters. Same weapon, strafing side to side. As you can see, there's no slowing down my strafe. There's no sticky targeting with the gun. Nothing is changing there. That's one key difference. That is the aim assist that I talk about in my videos that console has, that PC doesn't. The console, or using a controller, will hold your aim onto your targets a lot more, and in some cases, depending on the weapon, quite aggressively to help you out, which changes how things like snipers, sidearms, SMGs, all those weapons that are not the easiest to use on a mouse and keyboard because they don't have any sort of aim assistance, are easy to use with a controller because it keeps your targeting dead on. Even with a sniper, it does the same thing. Even more aggressively with Darcy. You can see here, it basically stops on his head. Whereas if I switch over back to mouse, see the cursor, there is none of that going on. Absolutely none of that going on. So those are those differences. Now, looking at our age-old Bond here with Counterbalance Stock, now it does have Zen Moment and other things on it that can increase stability, but we're not going to be shooting at a target for this. We're just going to use him to make sure that we're 10 meters away from him, standing in the same spot. Let's get to the middle of this square. We're 10 meters away from him. We're going to be aiming right there. And now we're going to be using mouse and keyboard, and we'll see what this recoil deviation looks like. Now, you see we went up about 1.5 triangles with mouse and keyboard. Let's redo the test just to make sure. We went up almost 2 triangles there. So right in there, that's going to be the range. Now I'm going to do the same thing with a controller. And you'll see the difference in recoil between PC and console here. Recoil is more erratic. It ends up in about the same place. But let's do that test again. The recoil is much more erratic. And we end up 2.5 triangles up. And it recenters nowhere close. Alright, now let's take this mod off of this weapon. And we're going to switch it finer spec. And now let's see if this mod actually did anything on mouse and keyboard. And I'm not holding the mouse down. I'm not trying to make the recoil any less. That test was almost exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. Now let's do the same thing with the controller. Okay, went up a little bit over 2. Redo the test. I feel like the mod definitely does help with the recoil deviation on a controller a lot more noticeably than with a mouse. both times when we were using the mod, we went up and to the left, more up than left. And now in this test, without the mod, we are going both left and right and up in completely random directions. And it never does the same thing twice in a row. So what the mod is doing is it's not reducing the amount of up that we're getting, but it's reducing the amount of left and right and changing it to mostly left, which is a lot easier to control than random left and right jumps. That's good. That mod actually does something. It's nice to know. Kind of sad that I don't have another recoil mod to put back on this auto rifle. Oh well, it happens. Now, we have backup mag on my Better Devils right now. I'm going to put a targeting adjuster mod on it. Now, it says that this weapon gains better target acquisition. Let's see. We are 10 meters away from our target. Hits in the head there. Doesn't hit in the head there. Doesn't hit in the head there. I'm not getting any more sways. Now, unfortunately, I did not do the sway test with the Better Devils. I'm going to have to put another mod back on it afterwards, and we'll have to see what the sway effects were for this. But as you can see, as far as target acquisition goes, there is no change in target lock with a mouse and keyboard. Now, if we switch to a controller, there is a severe amount of aim lock right now, and I'm not even aiming down sights. This is actually pretty interesting. A very, very large... It's actually changing the direction that my Guardian is even strafing right now. Let's make sure we're still 10 yards away, or 10 meters away. This is... Yeah, that's a lot. I'm not even able to stop the target lock unless I go right. This mod does a hell of a lot for controller. Let's pull this back up. We're 11 yards away. Sorry, meters. We drifted off a little bit. Okay, so let's get rid of the targeting adjuster mod. Let's put backup mag back on it. I was able to lose the lock going left with a sway test. So this mod actually does do something. It's nice. It increases the amount of aim lock you have, or aim assist, on weapons. And as I've said in the past, there is no aim assist on PC. And you can clearly tell, just by that aim lock there, not existing. It's not assisting you acquiring your target. So we have, again, just to demonstrate with the Darcy, mouse and keyboard cursor there, 10 meters away, swaying back and forth. Nothing. Picking up a controller now, circular cursor, aiming down sights 10 meters away. It is slowing down my strafe so much. And it's a wonder why sniping on console is so much more viable than it is on PC. Well, I think that's very definitive. The mods seem to do a lot more. The recoil mods do a lot more for a controller user than they do a mouse and keyboard user. And the targeting adjuster mod is basically fodder for dismantling to get a mod component for PC users. But if you're using a controller, they do actually affect the aim lock. And the amount of aim lock or aim assist that I get on a hand cannon 10 meters away, even hip firing, is a little bit insane, actually. So, that is going to be the end here. So, conclusions. Mods do a hell of a lot more for console players than they do PC players. PC, the hitboxes still might be big, just like they are on console, but we don't have that aim lock, which makes things a little bit more interesting to use. Will I say more skillful? No, I will not. Because being able to use these joysticks, using both of your thumbs to control where you're pointing, is a skill that many do not have. I myself have almost forgotten how to do it correctly. In the heat of battle, I don't think I can do that. But with the target standing still not shooting at me, yeah, sure, why not? But that is going to be the end of this video. This video is not meant to be a show of lack of skill needed to play with a controller. Much so, not at all. That was a terrible sentence structure. It was more so just to demonstrate the differences and why some things are better on console and some things are better on PC. There is definitely a reason for aim assist on a controller, and there is definitely a reason for less recoil on a mouse and keyboard. If you like this video, you found it informative, please hit that like button. A positive rating is greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel, you want to see more content, sometimes I do investigative stuff like this, other times it is reviews and other shenanigans. Hit that subscribe button. But don't forget to have a good day, everybody. And I'll catch you all next time.